What happened on day 2 of the Bassmaster Elites on the Mississippi River? Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the vlog. If you're new, my name is Steve Chapman. Day 2, Bassmaster Elites on the Mississippi River was a great day. This is a great fishery. If you're a traditional fisherman that doesn't like forward-facing sonar, this is a tournament for you. There's a lot of things going on. There's smallmouth fish, there's largemouth, there's topwater, there's jig fishing. It seems like we're getting the plethora of how to fish, not the old school way, but the traditional way. And while there aren't giant fish, there are lots of really quality fish. This was a great way to end the 2025 season, even though we have 2 more days left. And the storylines were fantastic today. We knew who was in the race for Angler of the Year. We knew who was trying to get into that classic cut. And then also, it was very emotional as there were 12 anglers that were going to be relegated back into either the EQ series or into other tournaments. And this was their last tournament on the Bassmaster Elites. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the things that I saw that is a little bit of constructive criticism. I watch Bassmaster to watch fishing. I know we all love fantasy fishing, but fantasy fishing isn't like fantasy football. And I think that Bass has decided to do whatever they can to be just like football with a halftime show and fantasy fishing. And I enjoy both, but I don't want to hear about fantasy fishing as much as it goes on. I want to watch fishing. And I've never watched a football game on Fox or CBS or wherever I'm watching it, and in the middle of watching the game, they would cut to fantasy fishing. It doesn't make sense. And in this case, fantasy football is a $30 billion industry. Fantasy fishing is a $100 industry, give or take. That's a joke too. But this morning I started by watching the Zaldangerous feed. I will be honest, I am enjoying the live feeds from Chris and Trait and even Matt Robertson more than I'm enjoying watching Bassmaster.com. Now I watch it all online. I don't have Roku and I don't have Fox Sports. I watch it online. And I found myself gravitating towards the Zaldangerous feed because the people that are in the feed, the live feed, and chatting, that we can have a conversation as the fishing is going. But I also enjoy how it's presented, how it is all about fishing. Now, I wish Chris would strategize and talk to us about what he's thinking a little bit more, but overall, I'm finding myself watching other feeds than Bassmaster, and that's not a good thing for them. And there were quite a few times where I went online and there were 1,300 to 1,500 people watching just Chris's feed. And there's also the trolls that get on all these things and decide that they'll chirp, talk stuff, and say things that just don't make sense. Right, Alex? Now, I questioned a few things today that I've never questioned before. I have questioned why cameramen are in one boat and not another. This is the problem. No offense to whomever is selecting it, but you did a bad job today. There should never be a boat in the angler who's in 60th place. And I know people will go, well, it was Trey McKinney and he's in Angler of the Year points. Great. But there are 5 or 6 guys in that top 10 that deserve to have the camera in their boat, not Trey McKinney. This is no slight against Trey, but at the beginning of the day, you're in 60th place and you get a cameraman? No, I disagree with that completely. Whoever made that decision made a bad decision. And to be honest, I think Trey is going to look back at this tournament and realize that he was scoping too much. I'm not sure, and I'm going to be completely honest. I think Trey is an amazing angler. I think he's one of the best in this field. However, I think he relies on technology almost too much. Or maybe it's just this tournament. Because he seems to be looking down when everybody else is frog fishing. Everyone else is doing all these other things. And he's stuck or committed to being a scoper. And it's hurting him. He needs to go out there and have fun. He needs to go out there and flip mats, pitch the banks, do all the things that everybody else in the tournament is doing except him. And if it comes back down to this and he doesn't win Angler of the Year, I think he'll look back at this tournament and say, I shouldn't have been scoping. Now, Caleb Koopel, my boy, my brother, is having an absolutely fantastic tournament. He had 5 fish in the first 45 minutes and is leading the tournament. The top 10 anglers are Caleb Koopel, Brian Schmidt, Pat Schlapper, Jay Shakurat, KJ Queen, Cooper Gallant, Lee Livesey, Stetson Blaylock, Andrew Bloberg, and JT Tompkins. And congrats to all those guys. This is a really great tournament. Really great tournament. But we still don't know who's going to win Angler of the Year. As I did it this just a second ago, Jay Shakurat is leading it with Chris Johnston, Trey McKinney, and Kyoto Fujita in 4th. And it's points difference. But Jay is having an absolutely ridiculous tournament. And he's in the top 10 where Trey McKinney's in 50th. Trey needs to have a huge day on day 3 and shoot for the stars. Or else he's going to be in 2nd or 3rd place for Angler of the Year. Now, the last thing that happened today is that we found out that there's 12 anglers that will not be coming back next year. Now, I don't know officially who's in and who's out, but the weigh-in was very emotional. And there were anglers that admitted they had a bad season or it didn't work out. And those anglers are like Bernie Schultz, who we know is going to retire, Tim Doobie, Ben Milliken, Jonathan Kelly, Logan Latuso, Chad Pipkins, Ray Hanselman Jr., Mark Frazier, Alex Weatherall, Matty Wong, Mark Menendez, and Jamie Hartman are probably on that list that will be relegated back. And in that list are some fantastic anglers. I'm going to keep it real again. I don't think they should let Ben Milliken go. I'm not sure Ben wants to fish the elites. He doesn't seem to have that. He didn't have any joy in what was going on today. He got on the weigh-in. He didn't really say anything. And Ben is one of those polarizing anglers. I don't know Ben at all. I've reached out to him several times to ask questions. Have gotten nothing back. Maybe he didn't like that I covered his story on his fishing licenses. But I was honest on both sides. Gave both sides of the thing. And if that's why he doesn't respond to a text, I'm really sorry, Ben, that I hurt your feelings. But you should have been fishing with a license. Having said that, I think that Ben doesn't need the elites. And I'm not sure that the money that he spent this year, he could go back and justify as an expense other than maybe a tax write-off for being an elite angler. This was a horrible year for Ben Milliken on the elites. And I don't know why. I would love to know if something changed during the year, that maybe the fishing license saga and all the stress that's put on him made him change and fish differently. But we'll never probably know unless he does something else, and I probably won't catch it either. But I think he is a big loss for Bass. I don't think it's a big loss for him because I think he can make the content and still do very well. I only follow him on Instagram. I'm not a big fan of his videos. It's an old age thing at this point in time. But I do believe Ben leaving the elites really hurts the elites. And if someone can get him in, hopefully it happens. But these guys were overly emotional, told their stories, and it really kind of stinks. But it is needed. Some of those guys are absolutely ridiculously good anglers, but you need to have fresh people joining. You can't keep it stagnant. I said this before. I think for years there's a lot of anglers that have been in that bottom 10 or 20 that weren't being pushed out. And it stinks to be pushed out, but you need to do it to keep an influx of new, aggressive anglers into the Bassmaster Elites. And I'll keep it real. I don't like the legacy thing either. I think you should get in on your merit, on qualifying. And some of these guys are going to go to the EQ series, and hopefully they can re-qualify for the elites. But going through the opens and now the EQs is not anything, it's not easy. The anglers that are joining that top 100 that are moving into the EQs are really fantastic anglers. Are they the best of the best? No, because they're down below. But they're really good anglers, and anyone can win on any given day. Go to the right fishery, and that angler can do great. That's what makes fishing great. Were any of the anglers you wanted to see on that relegated list? Comment below and tell me what you think. Thanks to all the new subscribers and members and everyone who's interactive on the channel. I really do appreciate it. It's humbling, it's awesome, and I can't say thank you enough, so thank you. But if you're not a subscriber, click that button. Also click that bell so you know when the next video drops. And if you want to become a member, you'll see the videos much earlier than everyone else, except this one because this will go public right away. But again, thank you. Remember, take a kid fishing, tight lines, cheers, and get your fish on.